right now. Game number 1, ready to get underway between Capoch and B here, as we will take to Lipany.
Spawning in on the right side is going to be B playing as the Delhi Sultanate in blue, and to the left we're going to have Capoch opening up with the Mongols in the red. Having that Ovu right next to that starting town center is going to be immensely helpful for our Mongol player to start with, allowing him to drop the pastures early. And of course, the town center being close to the food line also helps a lot. But if you look at his map, he's dangerously far away from all gold mines over here. That is just massively concerning. And even the extra sources of food, talk about berries, talk about hunts, is just very far away from his base. So he's going to have to rely very heavily on those sheep. But the bigger concern for him, I do believe, is going to be access to that gold mine.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I'm getting a bad feeling. I recall watching one of those M4C qualifier finals and a Mongol player just not getting any sheep ending the game. So we'll have to keep an eye out on that, because that is something to highlight with the Mongols. It's like you neglect sheep in the beginning at your own peril. You do at least have to play into a very early on pasture if you want to go for that, with this Uvi being right next to you. And it has to be noted that some players do tend to lean towards that, right? Looking for that quicker castle age timing. But, you know, bearings forewarn this. Like we talked about this already a little bit earlier. You're up against Delhi, and just trying to rush castle might be a little bit too risky.
He did open up with an early mosque over here, already going for efficient production, also tacking into wheelbarrow on the mill. He's got a very nice and compact base over here, but the berries very close to the gold mines. And he's also been very successful collecting sheep. So this is going to give him a very nice feudal age timing. And of course, he's going to have a lot of extra food to work with once he runs out of berries.
What did he do with that scout? Did he like tie a bunch of grass to behind his horse and just have it bait in the sheep? Because that was a phenomenal amount to snatch away. I mean, Capoch, he's not doing too bad, right? He got the initial sheep, but the worrying part I now see is that they've both played towards the same area, and now B is just going to wrap around to the south side and yoink away the sheep there as well from Capoch.
Looks like Capoch is coming in with a couple of spearmen from the left side. So he's coming in for a very aggressive gameplay over here. Also, a villager is being pulled. So you're going to have a tower rush here from Capoch. The question is, how can you tower rush such a compact base over here? Especially with B already going towards feudal age with the Dome of the Faith. There's going to be a small window here for Capoch, but I get the feel that this window is going to be way too small for him to do anything reasonable with it.
We'll have to see, because there is one thing he can do here, Lidakor. Like, notice the tree lines, right? Like, if Capoch shifts over the north, he can deny wood straight away, because it's not that well defended, right? You can easily just cut this off with 1 or 2 outposts, and I think that's the limitation. Everything else is really safe for B in this game, but wood might be his kryptonite. But no.
That is true, and there is no backup wood lines to fall back on the right side, only one small forest available, as he's coming in with quite a lot of spears. The Dome of Fate is not yet complete, and that's going to make things a little more difficult. B is going to spot the spearman coming in, but the next couple of moments will be a little difficult for him to handle. Looks like he's planning to pull villagers to fight those spears.
Does this feel like a missed trick to you? I feel like coming on the east side here is just kind of letting B have his cake and eating it, right? Like, it's annoying on the berry bush lines. And he will shift with the villagers, which is a bit surprising from B, actually. He doesn't want this outpost going down at all, so he actually invests the villager force in pushing back the spearmen. And they might be effective at this. He's actually trying to min-max. He drags them away. There is only one villager building up this Mongol outpost, and he's being shifted as well. And it looks like the peasant rebellion has been successful in pushing Capoch away.
The MVP goes to that scholar out here healing from behind, because while the scout from B was lost, I don't think a single villager was taken down, and quite a few spears, and even the villager was taken down over here, so B didn't lose a single villager. He was able to keep all of them alive using that scholar, buying himself a ton of time here as he's dropping his barracks right now.
Oh, this is crippling for Capoch, because, you know, he lost most of the spears. His villager died. It's a half-completed outpost. The only good news is I don't think this outpost was struck, so if he deletes it, he should get the full refund. But overall, this is a desperate situation for Capoch. He didn't full all in, right? Like, he still left himself some reserves. He didn't go with the double villager play, but this definitely sets back his game plan, and we highlighted this already. B, playing as the Delhi, is going to come online now in the feudal age. This is where he can thrive.
And there's a new villager being pulled here by Capoch, but now we're seeing some spears appear on the battlefield for B, and he's got efficient production to work with as well, so he can easily reinforce this battle. Some of the spears from Capoch are already heavily damaged, so while the numbers are heavily in his favor right now, with the power of that scholar healing the spears of B, I think B is gonna be able to hold off Capoch from this tower.
He is, and what a way it's led to this, folks. I mean, the pull on the villages, it's something a lot of players would panic they wouldn't do, but it's really given B the edge here. With the Scholar still healing up as well, it's hard for Capoch to take the fight. The villager is going to be revealed, has to back away, and the villager rebellion is once again in motion. And that will fully scare Capoch away. This outpost is never going to go up, and now that it's been hit by the torches, he can't even delete it and get the money back. He'll get a diminishing return on his investment. Heals out again from the Scholar. Scholar having to treat away, but remember these spears with measly 6 damage are not going to get through a 90 health unit quickly. And it really is giving the edge over, and it means that B is able to kind of min-max. He doesn't just have to churn out these spearmen non-stop, right? Instead, he's stopping off for the hardened upgrade, which is still 25 seconds out. That might be a bit
But once
risky.
he's got that hardened upgrade, he's going to be able to take this fight very easily. And keep in mind that Capoch is in Dark Age still.
He is, and he's lost another villager because they stuck one spearman through. So, despite the fact that he delayed his ability to get aggressive and clump up his spearmen, with this very greedy choice to go for hardened spearmen, he still buffers his opponent off. And Capoch at this stage, you feel like he's all in. If he stops pushing these spearmen out at any stage, this game is just going to go one-sided very quickly, because it's very hard for him to catch up now that B is padding himself and feeling very comfortable in the feudal age.
And you're seeing more Scholars appear on the battlefield, allowing to heal those spears a lot easier. And Capoch is trying to kill those, but it's so difficult. 90 base HP against those Dark Age Spearmen is a lot. And you already see that Sanctity is coming in, followed by Piety soon. Those Scholars will also have even more HP, as it looks like B is going to be able to repel all this aggression. Capoch, on the way to Feudal Age, there might be a small glimpse of hope here for him, but he's invested so much into this push, yet the results were almost non-existent.
And this outpost attempt, I mean, it might still fail, folks. The only good news for him is B doesn't see it just yet, but after he burns down this outpost, he might shift across in time. And I mean, you know, most people, they're like, oh, what do you really want to do with Scholars before Sanctity is ready? This is what you do. Find a way to just min-max your troops, because if you think about the investment difference here, Capoch has thrown so many resources into this spear line, and B, it's like half the number. He barely has to invest at all, and it looks like he spotted it. It's not going to go down. Capoch in trouble again, and the spears will pursue forward. Instead, backing away, even though they could chase the villager. Instead, they choose to deny the outpost once again.
And that is completely fine here for B. All he needs to do is just keep those outposts denied. Now, speaking of that, yep, there is one from Capoch as well, and he is successfully sneaking that up behind the wood line of B. And we've talked about that. That could be the kryptonite for a blue player, losing access to the wood. Now we're seeing some archers hit the field here for B to repel that spearman aggression. And now the concern for Capoch will be that so many of his resources are exposed. That gold mine that he's currently not using, but the hunt, the berries, a counterattack here could be devastating from B.
Oh, but Capoch, he's about to reveal what he's doing on the north side. So that might get countered. He might not get it fully online and deny the entire wood line. B, looks like he is shifting around towards the sacred sites right now. And that's the worrisome factor. Had Capoch done this north side at first, right, you deny your opponent the ability to easily tech up. He probably doesn't get to Sanctity quick enough. But now that he's going to have access to sacred sites, he can just trade for wood, worst case scenario. This is a very dangerous situation for Capoch.
It is a very dangerous situation indeed, and with the map control that B has, he could even shift towards that other forest south of his current one. So I don't think that this tower is enough here for Capoch, and now you're seeing Capoch's food getting in danger thanks to those spears and archers coming up here.
Yeah, it's problematic. He played greedy, right? He understood he had to go loose because he was always on the aggressive, but now it's B's turn to annoy him. And he won't be swatted away like one single B. This is a swarm. And with Scholar still in the front and the hardened upgrade, it's not easy for Capoch to buffer this away. Luckily for him, with the Arrow Slits upgrade coming through on the outpost, it will protect him, and the Yam movement speed buff is enough to scare B away.
At least for the time being, but the archer numbers are growing so heavily here for B, and he's starting to capture Sacred Site. Capoch can't afford to just sit in his base, and that's the big problem here that Capoch is facing. He has to move out of his base, but the moment he moves out, he's going to lose the effect of that Yam network.
Exactly. It is a painful thing right now. It's just something that's getting nerfed in the upcoming patch because it's just so dominant right now. But he really has to rely on it to even stand a chance of gap closing. But these numbers are not looking healthy. Capoch now at 14 military. B is doubling him up. 27 military pop cap. A little bit deceitful with the Scholars included, but still a clear lead for the Delhi player.
Up north, Capoch was able to snap the Scholar from the Sacred Site, so there is only going to be 2 Sacred Sites in the control of B. But on the other side, the villager almost got picked off by B, so that is a very low HP villager, probably at maximum 5 HP on that 4th will from Capoch, and now B is cleaning that tower up as well. And we are entering the stage where B no longer has to actively push his opponent. He just needs to sit on 2 sacred sites, and he's gonna be perfectly fine. Look at that gold count already increased like crazy. We are talking about 500 gold per minute against 0. And the food and wood income is actually comparable for the 2 players.
And this is the crippling factor of what Capoch done, because he wasn't able to angle it right, because he wasn't able to get the initial foothold with the outpost down. Everything is behind. We talk about Mongols as this power spike sieve on the economy, but that's the Castle Age, and that's so far away. Trade's underway in the meantime. Spearman count is favorable for B. Capoch at least has the lead on the Archer side, but the concern is this. The Scholars are once again min-maxing this and causing so much frustration for Capoch. So instead, he's going to be the one retreating away.
And looks like his entire forward is going to get cleaned up. This wasn't the best fight on the front line for B. Lost quite a lot of spears, even lost the Scholars out there. But behind this one, B is banking up a ton of resources. And I think he's already setting up the next stage of stuff. He is getting the blacksmith upgrades going. He has no stable, though, to respond to Capoch's archers. So he has to be careful because suddenly his army numbers are dropping quite rapidly. Still at 34, though, and Capoch only has 9 in the middle. So B, with the efficient production, he's able to reinforce that army quite fast, and he's back on track with the numbers in just a matter of seconds.
Absolutely, and Capoch really at a critical time losing the Khan like that. So casually, it's concerning because B, he is going to escalate. He's now up to 38 military units compared to the 12, and you're reaching a critical point where if you just lose one of these fights, you know B's going to run your base. He's going to have the foothold right outside. He's choking you in. And this contingent of archers moving out on the side are about to get ambushed. And when that main army's gone, that's when Capoch is in mighty big trouble here.
Absolutely. As you said, B already has the numbers advantage, so he can afford to just stop making army. And if you look at his resource bank, he's ready to go into Castle Age. He just needs the market to balance things out. But he's got such a large army right now that he can afford to stop making any more units and just progress towards Castle Age. And the moment he gets to Castle Age, he's going to get a very big power spike. That is going to be Lancers. Look at the northern side. I mean, there is one Scholar from B healing up that Scholar, and it's impossible to kill any of those because they just keep healing each other.
It's the healing circle jerk. Yeah, he's like, oh, thank you. Let me just pat you on the head as well. Oh, you pat me on the head. Oh, yeah, we done a great job, guys. Oh, this is just painful to watch. I mean, do you ever feel like this has to get nerfed, right? This is absurd. The fact that you can actually do that. It looks like he actually mismicroed. He didn't keep the healing going in the end, but it's still such a delay. In the meantime, now he moves in. He sees the opportunity to snipe a Gurg. Remember, when Gurgs pack up, they have 0 missile resistance, which means this does hurt a lot. And after that, this outpost, I'm not sure if it's going to protect him. So many archers and spears here. He could easily just brunt force his way through this, but it looks like for the moment, he's not going to reinvest. Instead, I believe this is going to be the tech up coming out from B. Yep, 15 villages working on it and already halfway complete on the compound of the defender.
That was a bit of a mismicro there by B. Lost quite a lot of forces, especially the Spearman. It's not something that he's really going to get punished for, but that could have been slightly better. I think he was trying to commit against the tower, but then he realized he doesn't really have the Spearman to fight against that, and with the archers, you can't really kill that tower. Capoch is trying to decap those sacred sites, but as you see, B is just using that map control so well, and just look at the expansion with all those berry patches being milled right now by him. Not just on the northern side, but he's sending villagers to the south as well. So he's really leveraging that map control, and that's just one of the reasons why Delhi is so dangerous. They can flood the map with units and then really leverage that map control using the berries and the sacred sites.
Yeah, you know, balancing all things, folks. You can't just be getting gold from the center. You got to be getting food from the center as well. And B can take this risk because when you look at the amount of people working on gold, it's an absolute 0. Compare that to Capoch with 9 people working on gold and still B with the eco lead. You start to paint a picture, and the picture is looking just pitch black and lights out at this rate for Capoch. He needs to make a move soon. The question is, what's it going to be? Well, he does find the
the map. We do have villager riot here.
And they're going to fight back.
Look at
that. They don't care. They're like, I don't care if you got a horse. After we shiv that to the ground, we're going to pick that dry for food as well. The only good news for Capoch right now is the Khan can do a little bit of damage as long as he kind of just jukes this and drives this around. And the other side of this is that B isn't actually looking to defend those villages at all. Instead, he's posturing in the center to maybe look to tap into Capoch's base again because he has Tower Water Elephants moving across the map.
Yeah, we were waiting for that. He didn't drop a stable, so there was no sign of Lancers coming out. Instead, it's just going to be the Tower War Elephants. The villagers ended up killing the Khan even. And of course, B is going to lose some of his villagers out here, but he just doesn't care because he's consistently sitting on free sacred sites, and his gold income is just spectacular. It looks like there's going to be one Tower War Elephant sent to the south to save those villagers, but they won't even need it because they will just fight back. They do have textiles on them.
Yeah, they've trained themselves, right? You know, it's that kind of adaptation. When you come under fire for this long, you learn how to defend yourself. And these villagers most definitely did that. Successfully repelling, as you said, not only the Khan, but several horsemen. And now that means that B can prep for a siege. He's got double War Elephant here. These units are phenomenal at battering through these buildings, and these outposts won't last long. And that's concerning for Capoch, because Capoch, he just exposed his underbelly. He went for the tech up, and because he cracked Castle Age and his opponent is sitting outside of his base, B now has a prime opportunity to push in if he chooses.
And he needs to push in right now. He can't afford Capoch to start leveraging the step redoubt that he has just built. He can't really afford to get Capoch to start adding some Castle Age units like Lancers. Especially with the double training, Capoch could catch up military-wise really fast. And you got the Elephant Power Spike. You got a unit that can just walk straight into the base of the opponent, ignore tower fire, ignore town center fire, and just kill villagers. Or worst case scenario, you can just use that to kill buildings as well. And you even have some scholars behind to heal. Although it looks like Capoch will be able to pick off one of those scholars with the archers.
Does it feel like B's a little bit too chill, right? Like you saw that tech up. He had 2 elephants in position. He didn't move into the base. He's finally going to do it, but maybe giving Capoch a little bit of wiggle room, because when he went for that tech up, he was dried. He was drained. He didn't have the resources to build any units, but now he might get the opportunity to counterattack you. He's pushing out the Lancers, but War Elephants are pushing in. Outpost is going to be the first thing to fall. And once that falls, your economy is going to be fully exposed here. And it's going to be the wall drop straight away, making sure those archers are healthy and useful. Now, keep in mind, folks, this is not going to be this fast for long. This is getting nerfed into the ground. It's going to take double the build speed. But for now, this is still an oppressive strategy. The Stonewall Tower is already half complete.
And honestly, that's not like the Stonewall Tower is not the thing that matters over here. The elephants do. These elephants can just run past that town center and start slaughtering all those lumberjacks, and you see the entire eco of Capoch is idle. This Stonewall Tower is doing basically nothing. It's the elephants doing all the work over here, and there is just only a couple of Lancers over here for Capoch to fight this one.
I mean, Capoch, he's not even moving. He's not moving the villagers away. They're just standing there. It's a fully garrisoned TC, and he's so done with this game that he's not even bothering to move him. He's going to call GG. I mean, you can't blame him, though. I mean, you knew what was coming. At the moment 3 Tower War Elephants turn up in your base, you know lights are out. But I think, I don't know about you, Lidakor, for me, this has to come back to the early game, right? The choices by Capoch and where he made those choices.
Absolutely. He realized that he has to sort of pin the Delhi player inside his base, because the moment the Delhi is able to move out, they can start capping the sacred site. The very thing Capoch wanted to prevent, however, just fell apart because he failed with the tower rush, and there is always a trade-off. The more you invest into the spears and the tower rush in Dark Age, the more you delay your feudal age. And his opponent was just able to beat him to feudal age, start popping out some archers, start popping out the hardened spearmen against Capoch's Dark Age spearmen. So the technology advantage kicked in for B before Capoch was really able to do any damage. And from that point on, B was just playing from a technology advantage position. He was able to push the sacred sites. And let's keep in mind that Capoch's resources were very exposed, because while his starting town center was great right next to the Ovu, it was also very far away from gold and